Okay, hi everybody. Just a quick video on how to contribute, well, at least the initial steps to contributing to a public or a group repository on GitHub. Okay, so obviously you have to have your own account already up and running. So if you haven't got one, you need to create one. It's for free. I've created this gaming student, kind of a dummy student here, just to show you the process. Um, from scratch. Okay, so this is my repository here, my GitHub account. I just want to test repository here, but just to show that it works. So what I need to do is I need to get access, or I want to write to the a group project. And the group project I'm going to use is the second year group project this year, 2022. And normally what you need is you'd be provided with a link or a URL to that repository. Typically they'd be public. If that's the case, just make sure that I am logged in here. This is the gaming student. Yes, it is. So I just go to GitHub. I can navigate to the repository in question. So we can see we have the repository here. Okay, so this is the repository. So I'm just making sure I am recording and everything is good. Okay, so this is the repository, and ideally I'd like to be able to just walk in here, go in here, and just change whatever I wanted to in there, but I can't because this is belonging to, well, the owner, who happens to be me, but the owner of the group or project. Okay, so me as gaming student, or as a gaming student here, I have no rights to write to this repository. So the process that we have is we copy it. And what we do is we copy it to our own repository, our own GitHub personal account, and then make changes there. Okay, so without further ado, we'll do that. So just again, making sure that we are signed in as our, to our personal account in GitHub, and we're just going to fork this repository. Okay, now it automatically fits in. You can see up there, that's me as the owner, and this is the gaming student, is the new owner of the fork. Okay, so click create fork, and immediately it should switch over to your personal account. You can see now it's gaming student, name of the project, and underneath it's forked from, again, the group repo, the group one, the main one. Okay, so this is our repository. Okay, it's on our current account, our current it's my personal GitHub, and we would like to make changes to this. Okay, now as with all these things, these are on the cloud, so if you want to make changes, you really need it on a physical machine with all the IDEs, and in this case it's a Unity folder, Unity project. If you want to make changes, you're going to need to work on the physical device in front of you, so you need to bring that down. Okay, so to bring this down, to copy from one repository to another, to make changes, kind of to contribute, is called forking. But if you want to copy down onto a machine, that process is called cloning. Okay, so to do that, we just click on the code and just make sure you've got the HTTPS tab selected. And then you can click on this button to copy the URL. So it's effectively the URL here, same as the URL up here, except with the .git at the end. Okay, so we've copied that, and now we just go to bring it to our local device. Okay, so to bring it to your local device, the easiest way is right click and get GUI here, but sometimes that doesn't work. So if not, you just have to go and just look for it, look for the get GUI, and here is your opening options. So you have create a new repository, clone, and opening. Now, the repository is already created. Okay, we have two copies of it actually. We have a repository, the group one, and we also have on our personal account. So we're not creating it, we're cloning it, we're making a copy of it. So we clone the existing repository, and again, we have two options. The first option is the where you're cloning it from. In this case, it's just paste in the URL that we just copied a few minutes back. And you can see it's gaming students, and it's the name of the project with the .git. And the target directory, the target is where you want to put it on your physical device in front of you. So I browsed that. So I'm going to put this on the desktop. Now you obviously could choose anywhere that you wanted, as long as you know where you're going to, you'll be able to find it after it's effectively. So I'm going to put it on the desktop here. So I will put it on the folder here. Now there's a little quirk. It asks you to put it into a folder. So so I'm just going to say GD test project. Oops, don't want that symbol in there. So I click close. So this is going to be the name of the project or the folder it will put it in. It just asks you to provide that. So you click clone and you should see hopefully the test project appear over here on the left. You can see it, and that's there. Now this is the Git GUI, the graphical user interface for Git. This will keep track of all the changes and stuff that you made in this personal session. You will be using this again later. You can close it or you can minimize it. Okay. You know, it doesn't matter either way. I'll minimize it for the time being. It's probably easier to minimize. Okay. So this is a test project, and if I was to double click to go into it, you can see it's got the same folder structure as above, and it's got work logs and, you know, all the files that we require, we would hope to require. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put very quickly a quick change in here. So we're going to go into the work logs, and I'm going to right click in here, and I'm going to create a new text document called dummy student. And inside that dummy student folder or file, I'm just going to put today's date, the 27th of the 9th, 22. Created work log, and what do we do? We forked and cloned repo for first time. Okay, so we save that and close it. Okay, so we have effectively saved the dummy student here. We can close off that now. So that's changed our project on our physical device. Okay, but it hasn't changed it on our personal GitHub, and it hasn't changed it obviously on the group repository. Okay, so the GitHub that we minimized earlier, you can open that up again. Now it's just idle, so it's not going to do anything unless we kind of provoke it into action. So if you rescan, you can see that it has also discovered, or it is checked. It said, look, this is the file that you've just created, dummystudent.txt, and this is what you've actually changed on a line-by-line basis. Now, if you had killed Git GUI rather than minimizing it, I'll just show you what you need to do. You just, as before, you would look for Git GUI. Again, you've got your three options, except this time you'll choose Open Existing Repository, and you would then browse to the repository test project. So it's on the desktop, and there it is. Now you don't go into it, you just click that project there, you select the folder, you open, and you can see it automatically again has the changes in there. So what we want to do now is we want to send these up to our personal repository. Because it's part of our repository, we have every right to write to that, to make changes to it. So that's fine. So the process here is you stage all the changes that you want to require. So effectively move them onto the platform. So yeah, I'm going to stage that. Now that's now tracking this file dummystudent.txt. So it will continue to track that until you tell it not to, which is you tend not to. You just basically would track it all the way. And now you typically would put a commit message in there. Now I'm just going to cheat here, and I'm going to use the text that we used here for the commit message. But the commit message really is just a brief description of the work that you've done. Okay, and we've staged it. I'm going to sign off. And now that typically would be filled with your address, your email address for the account. And then you commit and you push. Now, we'll be seeing this in more detail later, but we have that's basically sending from our source to our destination, the remote. Okay, so I push that. Now, if it's the first time you've done this, you may have to sign in through the browser, just your username and password for GitHub. As you can see, just a couple of things. It's sending it up to master to master. The master is basically the working copy that you have on your local device, and you're sending it to games, the gaming student game dev master. Okay, so we'll just close that off and see what that means on our GitHub account. So we're finished really locally. Imagine that was the end of our work session for the day. And we go up to our GitHub account, and you can see that when we're in the gaming student, immediately with the thing that we spotted, master had a recent push less than a minute ago. Okay, so it's already saying something's changed. Now, sometimes that might not appear, and you'd check the branches. You could see you've got different numbers of branches down here. So, but I mean, this basically is, if you see this, it's saying, look, you've brought up a new change. The new change is the file that we made. It doesn't matter what the changes are, but there are changes. All you want to do is incorporate them into your main account or your main branch of your thing. So you just compare and pull request. Okay, now be careful here. Here we're sending from the gaming student, games dev, master, but we're not sending it to the main, we're sending it to the main of your own account. So you're going from your master to your main before we send it on to the group project. Okay, so if I create this pull request here, it's fine, no problem. We can merge this pull request, and we're allowed to do this because we're merging to our own repository. We're merging to our own GitHub account. So we have every right to do this. So if I can just click and confirm merge, and when I do this, it usually gives me the option to delete the branch, so the temporary branch that brought up the changes from our physical device. So if I delete this branch here now, that's done. Excellent. So the branch is deleted, and if I go back to the group project, we can see that the group project now was updated 28 seconds ago. Okay. It will also say that this branch is ahead of Robert Sheehy main. In other words, it's actually ahead of where the group project is. Of course it is, because we made changes. Therefore, what we have has advances, hopefully, on where it was. Now, we would like to suggest that the changes that we made here would be of use to the main project. So, as I said before, we cannot write to this project. We don't have right as the gaming student. We do not have right. Okay, so you won't have rights to send it. So, but what you do is you politely request that you might consider these changes. Okay, so to do that, you make what we call a pull request, similar to what we did before with the master and the main. So you just go pull request, except this time, the pull request is going to go from our main, the gaming student main, to Rob Sheehy's main. Okay, in other words, to the group repo main. So if I create this pull request, first pull request, and now you can put a comment in there. Now, obviously, if you were doing this cold onto an open source project, you would put a lot more effort into the message that you would give to the person who's receiving your pull request. So that's effectively what this is. So you create this pull request, and it's checking for the ability to merge. So it's saying this has no conflicts with the base branch. The difference of what we had with this and the last time is that we were able to confirm merge and close it off, but we can't do that because that would imply we're changing Rob Sheehy, the group project, and we don't have rights to do that. Okay, so that completes your part of the work. But if I was to go to Rob Sheehy Games, repository, you can see now that there is a pull request in there. Now, as the gaming student signed in, we have no rights to do anything here. Okay, So if I was to look at the actual project itself, and going to the work logs, we would see there is no dummy student.txt in there. Okay. Now, so what we'll do is I'll just show you what would happen. So I'm going to sign out here as the student, and I'm going to sign in as the owner. So now when I go to the project, I should still see the one pull request, the polite request to say, would you consider this? I go to the pull request, I click on it, and it tells me it says no conflicts. Do you want to merge? Yes, I do. Confirm the merge. And now we're done. Now, so obviously the owner has to have a responsibility to accept the requests. But now if I look at the game project, robertsheehy.game, the full project, and I go to the work logs, we see dummy-student.txt is in there. If we click into it, we can see the code that we did. So that's basically the starting, how you start the first steps of committing or contributing to a group project. Okay, hope that was useful. I will do another video in another day, tomorrow, about how you update changes to the repository when you already have a group repository created. Okay, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.